Hello Team TED coaches! I'm very excited to finally bring this video to you. So the point of today's video will be to do an Instagram training, and this is primarily using Instagram for business. I'm really excited about this because I've been loving Instagram. It's been a huge part of growing my own business, and it's an excellent way to connect with people. And I've gone through a ton of training for it. I've been using it very consistently for I guess about a year now, or maybe a little over, and I've really just wanted to bring you this in-depth training of just all these different things you can do with it, and really how to use it to your best advantage. So I will warn you, this will be long because I really do want it to be in-depth, and I do want it to just cover everything. I have a whole bunch of notes here, a whole bunch of topics I'm going to cover, so just, if you need to pause this, go grab some water, go grab a notebook, maybe some food, whatever you gotta do, buckle down and get ready to just get a ton of information. Alright. So as I said, I've been using Instagram for about a year now and consistently, but really probably over the last half a year or so, I've really gotten into using it as a business tool and as a way to really network with people and meet new prospects. So I'm gonna just delve into my list. I have a whole bunch of topics I want to cover, and I figure it's best just to kind of cover one aspect at a time. So let's get into it. So topic number one is your theme or your brand. And really there's a lot you can do with this. So the term brand gets kind of thrown around a lot in the Beachbody business, and really in any business, especially a social media involved one. And what it really is, your brand is you. It's what you represent, what you consistently provide, the theme of your personality and of your business and what you're focused on. And it's good to have it be focused. Not necessarily on one topic, but 3 to 5 topics is a good place to be. For instance, if you're really into fitness, really into nutrition, really into the Muppets, you're really into your family or your kids, and you love boating, that's your theme. Because those are the topics that you're probably posting a lot about, that you're really passionate about, that you're excited to talk about. So those are the materials that you're going to consistently come up on your Instagram, and maybe as well as your Facebook, your Twitter, whatever else. So then when people get to know you and follow you, they realize that if they have a question about one of those topics, they can go to you because they see you as being representative of those things and those passions. So the big thing with your brand is try to stick to it. Figure out what it is that you want to convey to people. What's your message? What's your purpose? What do you want to be known for? And then work that, develop it, be consistent with it, and post about it. And that really, know that it represents you, not just things you're interested in. It represents your stance on things, your personality, your sense of humor, all that stuff. So it's good to kind of hone in on what it is you want to represent, what it is you're selling, because you're not just selling products, you're selling a package that includes you and who you are and what you have to offer as a coach, as a friend, as an upline, as a, just a supporter or a resource. So the first thing, be consistent about your brand, be consistent about what you represent, and be consistent how you represent it. Because you want to be memorable. You want to have people recognize what you post, whether it's the certain type of font you use for, tagging your pictures, or if you have a certain icon or watermark that you use, whatever, be consistent about how you use it so that when people see your picture, before they even know that's coming from you, they can recognize, like, oh, I know that brand, I know that person, I know that group or whatnot. So, first things first, figure out your brand. Okay, topic number 2 is your profile picture and your bio in your Instagram. So, Instagram doesn't give you a whole lot of space to work with for your bio. It's usually maybe a couple sentences, so keep it brief. The idea here is to maybe come up with a few phrases or a catchphrase or something that really represents you and what you are. For instance, in mine, I like to highlight, that I'm a scientist, that I'm addicted to fitness, or occasionally like to highlight that I'm becoming a fitness trainer and I'm becoming certified in nutrition. Sometimes it's okay to, or you know, depending on what you want to do, you can highlight where you're from. If you're from a big city or a known city, it might be kind of fun and make it easy for people to find you if they know, hey, you're from Boston. But again, it's pretty brief, so you want to be kind of quick and catchy with it. You can also include your web address. Now it's up to you whether you want to have people link back to your Facebook-like page or your blog or your YouTube channel, your private Facebook profile, whatever it is that you feel like you spend the most time on, you have the most interaction on, or you know, sort of your landing page that you want people to return to, you can include the URL in your profile. Now it doesn't work as a live link unless you're actually on a laptop. That's okay. And as far as your profile picture, you gotta realize most people look at Instagram on a phone, right? So your picture is like that big, it's tiny. And if you're next to a boat and the boat looks giant and you're like this tiny speck and it's like this huge view of it, people can't see you. You look like a dot. You want sort of this. You want your face, maybe a little bit of your body. You want it to be clear that it's you. You don't want 20 people in it because then people don't know who's who. You don't want it to be your torso because people are like, what is that? Especially when they're on their phone and it's small. You know, you want it to be clear who it is and what you look like. So again, people can recognize you. People can be familiar with what your icon is so that when you like their stuff or they see you commenting on things, they recognize you right away. And you want it to look friendly and clean and not intimidating. I'm not saying you have to go get a professional headshot, but just don't look angry. Don't post necessarily a sweaty picture. It's okay if you're doing something fun like a Tough Mudder or Warrior Dash or something, you want to post that for, you know, that's fine, but just keep in mind that this is what people are going to see you, and that often is that first thing that they're going to react to and make up their mind about. So if you look intimidating, if you get lost in the picture among other people or bigger objects or whatever, you're not going to be memorable, and you want people to remember you. So keep these things in mind when you're developing sort of your initial little bio and you're choosing your profile picture. All right. So topic number 3, pictures. That's what Instagram is all about, right? It's all about sharing images. People don't care too much about text on there. It's all visual. So you want to have interesting images. There's a whole variety of types of pictures you can post. There's filters you can use. It depends again on your brand and what you want to do with that brand. If you want to post just about your family, your food, and your fitness, then those are the pictures you want to consistently be posting on there. Yeah, you can occasionally post other pictures. You'll say you travel somewhere, you meet up with someone, you bought a new pair of shoes. That's fine, but again, you want to be consistent about what you're representing and what you're giving to your followers, because that's what they're coming to your profile for. You know, if they're coming to you for fitness and that's what they recognize you for, and you're posting a ton of pictures of your dog, yeah, your dog's probably adorable, but they might that might not mean anything to them and it's not giving them value. So again, especially if you're running this as a business page, you want to keep that in mind. It's okay once in a while to post a picture of your dog, but you probably don't want to have it overwhelm the message or the principal pictures that you're trying to get out there and get people to connect with you over. Now as far as filters, you can do whatever you want with filters. There's a whole bunch of neat looking filters that do great things. My one recommendation with that is be consistent. If you're picking a filter, or pick one or two and kind of stick with them. So again, your images are recognizable. People see your tag, people see your font, people see your borders, whatever, and they know it's you. They don't even have to read the handle or whatever, they know it's you. So don't try to do a bunch of different filters every single week, all week long, and be flopping all over the place, because that might get messy. It's not going to look consistent. It's not going to look professional. So just keep that in mind. And as far as frequency goes, depending on how many people your followers follow, you don't want to get lost in the shuffle, but you also don't want to overwhelm them, be the only thing on their newsfeed. So generally, 3 to 5 pictures per day I find works pretty well. It kind of will depend on who's following you, how often they're on there, you know, sort of the response that you're getting. And it's important to pay attention to when you're getting good, you know, a good amount of likes, good amount of comments, and when you're just getting like crickets, because maybe you need to adjust when you're posting or how frequently. But generally most professionals in this field will say twice a day is pretty good. And usually morning and evening it gets a good response because people either in the morning getting ready to go to work or on their way to work or just got to work, or in the evening they're settling into bed, the kids are already in bed, they might be just kind of farting around the internet. So those are usually 2 good times. I find sort of after work hours works pretty well too, but again, it depends on who you're targeting and who is responding to your profile. So keep that in mind. You don't want to do it 20 times a day because that's a lot, and if you have a person who's following 20 people, you're going to be like their entire newsfeed and you're going to bug them. You don't want to do that. But you also don't want to do once a week. Nobody's going to see your post. It's just going to get lost because there's millions of people on Instagram posting. So just keep in mind that you want to be consistent. And that also means, you don't want to post 20 times one day, once one the next day, and 20 the next, and then one, and then 50. You know what I mean? Like 2 to 3 every day. That's a good start. Twice a day is perfect for you to begin with, and then you can kind of gauge the response that you're getting and whether you need to up it or you can just stay at 2. Okay, so that's it for the types of things that you're posting. So, as far as URLs go, now if you want to send people to your Facebook page or to your blog, or say you're having a contest on your YouTube, links do not work in Instagram. So what you want to do is make the links as easy to remember and as short as possible. Because if your link is, like hotmail at like .com at blah 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 / this !__, like people don't want to deal with that nonsense. So what you can do is go to TinyURL, and they will generate a URL for you, and it's short and sweet. And the beautiful thing is they can either auto-generate it, or you can pick what goes after. And I think it's like tinyurl.com / and then you can pick, like going to Team TED or group or Doro IG training. You know what I mean? Like you can pick what the words are that come after the initial tiny URL. So the nice thing is it's a quick, easy link that people can either remember or copy easily. So keep in mind when you're posting links that you want to make them brief and memorable and easy access. That's what you want. You want it to be as easy for people as possible to find your link or copy it or remember it. Okay? So that's it for links. Now hashtags. Hashtags are the motherlode of connecting and networking in Instagram. Because the beautiful thing is when you use a hashtag, you can click a hashtag and it'll take you all the other pictures that use that hashtag. So it's a wonderful way to find other pictures and other people that are using the same kind of topics that you're interested in. So general rules about hashtags. Instagram usually only lets you have 30 per picture. So don't go overboard. But also take advantage of that. You can go up to 30, keep it at 30. The number one thing I've learned, when you first make your Instagram picture, you can make a caption with it. Do not post your hashtags in that. Absolutely not. And here's why. You cannot delete that without deleting the picture. That's the only way you can get rid of those hashtags. And if you're going to waste your hashtags on that and suddenly you don't realize you don't like them, tough deal because they're in there. So what you want to do is have your picture, write whatever you want in your caption, post that, and then make your first comment your hashtags. Because the beautiful thing about that is you can delete those hashtags. So the point of hashtags is they bring people to your picture, people who, like the hashtag fitness or fit life or girls who lift or swolemates or couples that lift or vegetables or Muppets or science or whatever. People will be searching for those tags and they'll find your picture using those tags. But usually when you go through sort of the feed for every single hashtag, so if you click on a hashtag, it'll give you all the pictures that have ever used that. A lot of those reload really fast because, again, you have thousands of people posting at all times. And some hashtags are very popular, things like fitness. I mean, you can reload every single second and your picture is just going to disappear in like a quarter of a second. So because of that, even though you're going to bring people to your picture who look up at that tag, if it's been a while, say 20 minutes, half hour, again, depending on how popular your hashtag is, your picture's going to disappear from being found too easily. But what you can do is you can delete that comment with the hashtags and repost them, which will bump it up in those feeds. So it's a great way to refresh and sort of reboot your newest picture, but it's also a wonderful thing you can do for old pictures. So if you have pictures from months ago that you want to bump up, if you have a comment in those that you can delete the hashtags from, and just post a whole new set of hashtags, that's again going to revive that picture and bring it into searches again. So it's just a nice way to consistently and constantly bring new people to your pictures, and give you some variety. You know, if you have 90 hashtags that you love, put up 30 of them, then a half hour, take those off, put on another 30, and then a half hour later do that again, or the next day, you know, however you want to do it. But it's just a nice way to get new eyes and new interest looking at your pictures, which is what you want, because that's how you get people connecting with you. So as far as the easiest way to do that, I find, is I find a bunch of hashtags that I like, I make a note for each set of 30 on my phone. So it's really easy for me to make my Instagram picture, make my caption, post it, go to my notes on my phone, copy and paste whatever set of hashtags I want to use, and then paste it right into Instagram. So it's a really nice way to not have to sit there and type them every single time. Now most phones at this point have some sort of note function, or you can get Evernote, and it'll do the same thing. So you can write up your hashtags, copy and paste, and you're done. So it doesn't have to take long if you're efficient. Now the only other thing I would suggest about hashtags is, it's fun sometimes to make goofy ones and like lengthy ones, but if you're really trying to have people find you, if you make a really specific hashtag that nobody's gonna think of, like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that with my dog, like, nobody's gonna find that, because what are the odds that somebody, I mean, maybe I'll have like one other person find that, but like, who's gonna really think to write that? You know what I mean? So keep that in mind when you're thinking of hashtags. It's okay to make them a little bit more specific than just like fitness. Say like, I like the Boston Fitness tag. But just try to make them accessible and specific without being too narrow, because you don't want to lose out on everyone else. Because another thing to keep in mind is hashtags that are really similar won't get, their news feeds won't get combined or anything. So if you look up, for instance, Boston Fit and Boston Fitness, those are two different sets of pictures. You're not going to have overlap between anything that's similar enough. So adding an S or forgetting an S, you know, for plural, or adding an underscore, whatever, they're going to give you whole new sets of lists, which is good, because then you can use, you know, Boston Fit, Boston Fitness, Boston underscore fitness, Boston underscore fit. But just keep in mind that those aren't going to have overlap. So if you want to search for those specific ones, or have people come to your page that might be using those specific ones, it's good to just keep that in mind. So a nice thing to do is maybe try looking up those hashtags that you're thinking about first, and see how many people are using them. If there's 5 pictures that come up for a certain hashtag, odds are that's not going to get you too many people looking at your pictures. If there's 1,000 or 20,000, it's probably a decent hashtag to use. So, you know, just keep that in mind as you're really trying to figure out what hashtags can help you target the people that you're most interested in connecting with. Okay, so that's it for hashtags. Okay, now shoutouts. Shoutouts are a good way to grow your business or grow your page, but they sort of have their good and bad. So on one hand, if you find other accounts, generally the way it works is you find another account that has about this many followers as you, and you either do a shout out for a shout out, so you take a screen grab or a picture of theirs, put on your page and say, hey, follow blah blah blah, they have really cool blah blah blah, and then they do the same for you. Or you can pay and have a page that has thousands of followers, post and feature your picture, and do it for some amount of hours or days depending on what their criteria and business is. So the nice thing is, it is a good way to grow. It's a nice way to target people that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have access to, or you wouldn't have come across. So it's a good way to expand your network and your market. However, keep in mind that sometimes people might not like it if you're just on, because it makes you look like if you're really clearly doing shout out for shout out, people might think like, well, that's all you're here for, just to like find as many likes as possible instead of being genuine and trying to just like interact with people. So just keep in mind, and also if you're gonna pay for it, make it work for you. You know, if a page wants $50 to feature you for 48 hours and you have like no followers and you're still kind of learning the ropes, and you know, you're not bringing in any money yet, it's probably not worth it. You can pretty organically grow to a decent amount of likes. But if you are raking in the dough, and to you this is an investment and you can totally afford it, and you think it'll give you, you know, you found a page that says 150,000 followers are on their page and they guarantee you 1,500 likes or something, then by all means. But just make sure that it makes sense for you. And if you're doing a shout out for shout out, again, make sure that it's really genuine and it's worth it to you. So that's it on shout out for shout out. And then the same idea for follow for follow. Now, as far as finding followers, so we talked about hashtags already. Hashtags are a great way because you can find all kinds of hashtags out there. You can use, go to your friends or followers' pictures, see what hashtags they're using, click those hashtags and see what kind of people you're seeing there. I find what worked best for me, and this is where I really like the idea of not just following everyone or, looking up weight loss as a hashtag and just following every single picture of every single person. Like that's not genuine connecting to me. So what I like to do is find, a hashtag that I like and that I use a lot, and do the search for it, see what kind of pictures come up, and then go through and find pictures that speak to me. If I like a certain picture, I'll open that person's profile, go through their profile, see if there's other stuff. Does it seem like I could connect with this person? Does it make sense to connect with them? Would it make sense for me to engage them? And if the answer is yes, then I'll like a bunch of their pictures, try to find something to comment on, really not force it, but really be like, oh, you know what, this picture spoke to me, I have something to say about it. And then I'll follow them. And I think that's a nice way to sort of get them engaged in conversation. So that's one way to find followers. Now, there's also people that obviously are going to find you through searches and hashtags and recommendations or shoutouts or whatever. Make sure you comment back to people. If people are kind enough to say anything on your picture, don't just let it fly by without saying a word. Especially if they're complimenting you on something, let them know you appreciate that, because they're going out of their way to talk to you or to comment on your picture or compliment you. So, that's very nice of them, and I think it's good to really get back to them quickly. A good thing to do is obviously figure out your target audience, because these are the people that you're going to be able to connect with the most, and these are the people you're seeking out. So again, the best way is to use the hashtags and use searches and find pages that you might have in common with those people. If there's certain fitness accounts that you're really a big fan of, go through their likes and followers and see, are there people who maybe I could interact with on here who look like we could get along. So that's another way to kind of find potential people to connect with. The only downside to obviously a place where there's thousands of people posting all the time and with opinions and things from all over the world, you're gonna get haters. Let's just be honest here. You're gonna get people who spam your page, who can be unpleasant. It's just the way it goes. You're putting yourself out there, and then there's always just going to be jerks out there. But the beautiful thing is you can delete comments, you can block people, and you can report people. So if there's occasionally Instagram has an issue where they'll go through this phase of lots of spam bots following you, and they're pretty easy to identify because they usually have one picture and it says buy 1,000 followers. Pretty clearly not a person. You can block them, you can report them. So, if you get comments that you're not comfortable with, or somebody says something unpleasant, it's your page. It's okay to block them. They are allowed to have their opinion, but you're also allowed to not have to deal with it on your page. So, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so now, this is the fun part, applications. There's so many apps out there that can help you make Instagram just vibrant and fun and engaging and just interesting and also efficient. So depending on what phone you have, and depending on whether you have basically either an iPhone or Android, you can have access to different types of apps that do different things. So what I'm going to just do is kind of give you a list of what I recommend that I've either found myself to work really well or I've heard works. So I have an Android-based phone, but also what I find in my trainings and my research, I've found that for iPhone, these apps, or some of these apps, are also great. So depending on what system you have and what you're looking for exactly, you might be interested in checking out some of these. Most of them are free, or a couple bucks, and they're usually worth the investment. So let me just read my list. Okay, so Overgram is great for adding fonts to your pictures, and I think right now it's only for iPhone. InstaQuote is, I believe, for both iPhone and Android, and it's a great way to make like fun little graphics that you can put your quotes on. So basically put text again over images, give you some different options of fonts. It's really cute. It can also just give you backgrounds. If you don't have an image you want to use, you can use one of their backgrounds. Pick, Play, Post is a great video app. So, and right now I think it's only for iPhone or iPads, but it's a nice way to make video collages, and it gives you a lot of fun options of whether you play everything simultaneously or one at a time, and it's just a really, really nice way to post videos on Instagram. Pick, Post Pro is my favorite app by far for adding text because it has tons of options, and just it's well worth the investment. I think it's like $2.99. Totally worth it. Kik is a chat program that a lot of people use who are on Instagram, so that's a great one to get. PicStitch for making collages, Labelbox for adding labels or text. TextCutie is another one that lets you do fun fonts. JustGram lets you also do text. And PhotoShake is a great one for making collages as well. So those are some of my favorites for putting pictures together, putting fun like hearts or stars or whatever, as well as putting your web address. Because if you don't have a watermark or some other method of doing it, it's a nice way to just write your Facebook address or your Instagram name, so also it gives you credit for your pictures. Okay, so now some basic principles for using Instagram. Don't be sleazy. I know it sounds really obvious, but there's a lot of sleazeballs out there. So just, be friendly, be supportive, be positive. Most likely if you're doing this as a Beachbody coach or a fitness account, you want to be encouraging and you want to be supportive of people. Just don't be a sleazeball, and just be kind. Be generous with your knowledge and your information, and just be kind and be helpful. Stick to your theme. I think that's really key. Be consistent about your theme and what your brand is. Keep it positive. Really, that's like probably the number one principle for me. Don't argue with people. Again, you're gonna get haters. You're gonna have people who disagree with what you're doing or think it's stupid or say, "Oh my God, you're way too skinny. You need to eat a sandwich." Just let it go. It's not worth arguing because it only makes you look worse. It doesn't do anything for that person. It doesn't make them look any worse or better. It only makes you look worse. So just don't argue. And no nudity. I know it sounds stupid, but seriously, be professional. Don't put your ass out there or your boobs out there. Like, we don't need to see that. It's not necessary. My 2 cents, but it's just not necessary. Okay. So, next we talk about statistics and how you can track your statistics. So this is one of the coolest things that I've learned about Instagram, and there are pages out there that help you track your numbers of likes, your numbers of followers, your trends over time, your most popular pictures, your most highly commented pictures, and things like that. My favorite website is Statigram. So that's Statigram. And it's just a beautiful way. You log in with your Instagram credentials, and then it gives you just all this information about who your top followers are, your new followers that you've gained or lost in the last 7 days, which lets you reconnect with people. You're just, the number of likes, it's easy to track comments that you've received and respond to them. It's just a really nice way to interact with people, and also to search out hashtags and find new people to connect with. It's just very nicely organized. So I highly encourage that you check it out and you link it and start using it to track your activity, because it can really help you target when your times to post are best, or when your best times to post are, what kinds of pictures get the best feedback from people, and what people want to see more of. So also, it's good to track your contacts on there that you make, so people you seek out and connect with, or people that constantly comment on your stuff. Now, how you want to do this is up to you. I just keep a notebook because I love doing pen and paper things, but you can use Expedia, Excel, or you can use Google Docs, whatever works for you. But I think tracking is really, really key. Okay, so I swear, it's just 2 more topics. My favorite accounts, or these accounts that I think are really worth checking out to get a sense of what a themed, consistent well-respected account looks like. So you can just see what they're posting, how they're posting it, how frequently, what do their pictures look like, what are their captions like, what are their hashtags like. These are just some accounts that I think are really wonderful examples of a good quality Instagram account. So I'm just going to read these off to you. So Chalene Johnson, easily one of my favorite accounts. She's just brilliant on Instagram, and she's grown her business tremendously on there. And she's just at Chalene Johnson. At pretty_fitness is another one, themed account, follows a certain topic. She just does a wonderful job on there. At InstaFemFitness is also another one. At Janelle Summers, at FitGoddess55, at Fitness Modifications, at Bella Falcone, at Natalie Jill Fit, and that's I guess it for now. Those, I highly encourage you to just check those out. Really, scroll through a lot of their pictures, look at their comments, look at how they're interacting with people, look at the filters, the tags, the watermarks, everything that they're using to structure the pictures, even their profile picture, their bio, and get a sense of, okay, this is what a quality account looks like, and these are the kinds of accounts that get a high response. And the nice thing is, these are all pretty different accounts with different purposes, so I think they'll at least give you a good sense of, okay, what works well. And hopefully there are some elements from each that maybe you can think of applying to your own account to grow it and better it. So, okay, last topic. It's just the 3 C's of Instagram. If there's nothing else to take away from this video, I hope it's this, okay? Content. Content is key. Consistency. You gotta be consistent and you gotta be reliable. And then communication. That's what Instagram is for. It's communicating with other people, networking with other people. So those are your priorities, if nothing else. Focus on what your content is, how consistently you're posting it, and how you're using it to communicate with other people. Okay? So I hope that's been a helpful training to you. If I learn new things, I will, update this video in the future and hopefully continue to make it better for you. But I hope at least it gives you a much stronger start to using your account for business. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below this video, or you can always message me at facebook.com/teamtedfitness or at teamtedfitness@gmail.com, and I will be happy to help you in any way I can. So I'd love to get your feedback on this, and I do hope you apply this stuff and it helps you grow your Instagram account. Alright, that's it for this training. I'll see you soon.